Recording in progress.
Six 6:30.
Okay.
Time.
Welcome to the Scio Township Roads Advisory Committee, December 6, 2023. Call to order.
6:30.
6:30. Okay. Roll call.
Kerry.
Present.
Hubert.
Present.
Shields.
Present.
Walsh. Present. Groden.
Present.
Smith.
Present.
Townsend.
Present.
Good. Adoption of the agenda. Any changes? Questions? Additions?
The only question I had was, we had talked about waiting until new members were appointed for the election of officers. Are we gonna elect officers?
Well, Will brought it up in the last board meeting.
Okay.
But I shared that we decided to wait until we had new board members, so I put it on here just in case. So we can just remove that.
You can always table it again.
Should we wait till we get there or do it now?
Let's wait till we get there.
Okay,
Move to adopt the agenda.
Support. Second.
third.
Am I the third?
You are.
Never mind it.
Voice vote?
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, ready for public comments?
Yes.
Yeah, if there are any public comments, please raise your hand.
There's nobody here in the room physically.
Other than us.
No, not seeing any raised hands at all.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll move on to communications and correspondence. And this is an interesting, trying to create this agenda packet because we just had a meeting and to turn around, so a lot of it's just, repetition. Oh, yes. I believe everybody is receiving the Washtenaw Road Commission list of projects that they do. So I thought maybe to include that for the public, just in case there's some items that they've been asking about. So, all right, so we'll just move on. Discussion items, anything? No? Okay. Well, should we? It's gonna be a fast meeting, huh?
Don't say that.
Shh.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Say that.
Take it back. Unfinished business. Let's see. Oh, the special assessment policy, revision number 5. So that was a fun Thanksgiving, back and forth. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. So Ian and Patrick and
You.
we're getting there. Yeah, well, we're getting there. There's as much as we want to put this to bed, we still have a lot of work to do. I mean, we're getting there, but it will need to go to legal and then back to us if there's any changes that legal recommends. And then after that, go back to the board or we send it to the board for approval. The township manager. So when we send it to legal, the township manager should review it as well. Oh, and maybe our new project manager.
Jillian,
Chris.
can I bring up something just as I was reading through it again, and I knew this from previous discussions, but it didn't really strike me until today. Discussions have been had between the township treasurer and township clerk in the past that our administration fees for some of these extra projects, this type of a SAD being one of them, are actually higher than what we've been paid in the past. I know that this was a template and the 5% probably came with the template as far as the township shall include an administration and management fee of 0.5% of the cost estimate of the roads. Have we cleared that with anyone at the township? Because 0.5% of or $200,000 project, if you're gonna have a 10-year SAD collection with all of the fun stuff that comes with that, may not be sufficient. And if this is a document we're gonna work with moving forward, a question might be asked to the treasurer.
Right, yes. So I do remember when Daleview, it was Daleview, Merlin Way, Westview Way, and the Wagner,
Ridge.
was it Ridge? Yeah, one of the Wagners. There was discussion of having the interest at the same level as whatever the going rate at the time. But it can't go over 5%, I believe. There's something like that. So that's
People who run the 10-year.
right. If you pay it off, then of course you don't have the interest. And I believe that the administration fees should be wrapped into the whole SAD when it's divvied up. SAD.
In the past, and this goes back now several years, there was a traditional fee. They just had a plug number that they assigned to each and every SAD, and that specifically has been called out as not enough. But 0.5% of a smaller SAD may not be enough
Okay.
either. I only bring it up because I think it's a question we should ask before we make it policy.
Yes, and so
$100,000, maybe $500, right?
Yeah, and that's,
You're not $500, you know, $200,000, $1,000, you're getting into much.
So-
Even $1 million, it's $5,000. Again, a large SAD, that's.
0.5 is a pretty small number.
So with because there will be cost allocation every year for the different.
The staff time and just the accounting for it.
Where is that in here?
It's on
Exactly.
page 7 at the
7.
top under H.
Thank you. As many times as we went through that for the Thanksgiving, I forgot where it was.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so what should we,
Well, I don't know that a plug number is the right way to go either, but I think that 25% is a bit low.
Yeah, I don't remember it being that low, to be honest.
It could be a typo, but I don't know.
I'm going back through old versions
Well,
to have a quick look.
yeah, and this was,
This was a template from another township.
right, so maybe at the time when they created it back in the day, it was,
I can't imagine anyone have it that low.
maybe they meant 50%.
I don't, that's why I called it out, is that I don't believe we should initiate it at that rate.
Seems like there should be a number in front of that.
Well, I don't have the historical documents in front of me to pull it, but in the past, there was just a set number, and that was sort of based on what they thought, the administrative fee for Washtenaw Engineering's time going out and spot checking and doing the things that they need to do, as well as the accounting side of things at the township would be covered by.
Well, if they.
Because it says and management fee, so you're
Right.
including boots on the ground on the site.
So that's that project, would the project manager's salary come partly out of that, Jillian?
Partly, yeah.
Yeah, so
So
that's-
they would, any
It's
project,
not gonna cover Chris's salary, I don't.
no, but this would be a small portion of what
Percentage,
he's
right.
doing, and then the other, okay,
Many of our improvements are over $200,000.
oh, yeah.
Just as a sort of a base figure.
Well, the township, when you get your tax bill, your winter, I believe, for most of us, Dexter, they're on opposite, but down at the bottom, there's an administration fee just for your parcel and whatever that is. And so would that be this, like every year they would calculate it on how much your part?
Well, I think this would just be set,
This is a set fee that's
Mhm.
baked into the SAD.
Okay, so
Yeah, you're.
I'll put set question mark and what should we ask? What would be a reasonable fee
And it hasn't been done in several years now, so they can go back to one of the most recent.
Ian, we got this in what, West? Where did we
It
get
was,
this?
I'm looking at it, it's 0.5%.
Okay, so that's what they use in West Bloomfield, okay, we're not
Well-
gonna, at least I thought it worked for them.
Have all
I
the
think lost
documents,
leader here.
have all the documents that we were looking at. I'm just gonna go in there and see if I can find anything that would kind of convey what we were thinking when we first started doing this back in 2022.
I vaguely recall talking, was it 3,500 was the fee that the township threw on? I
I
couldn't,
don't remember. It was a set fee that was
Yeah.
put into the SAD and it was intended to cover all.
right,
But when you looked at the Washtenaw engineering fees alone, 2/3 of it was gone, and what was left for the township administration and accounting each year was,
So, when I read this, so you're saying, I'm sure. Administrative fee would not include construction engineering, non-cost, or is that supposed to cover?
well, the way this is written, it says administration and management. To my ear, that's meaning the accounting and the
Right.
paperwork at the township for the people who are asking for 10 years worth of,
So,
fragments, as well as the project manager, not the construction, but the project manager, the township hires to oversee the project.
You know, maybe that's why Scio has always charged a 5%, a flat 5%, and, but they called it interest. Do you know if they combine the fees with the interest and just hold it up?
I do remember that 3,500 number like that,
Yeah.
so it's somewhere someone grabbed that and put it, I mean, maybe that's what Washington Engineering told them they charged them, I don't
Well,
really know.
and I recall being at a meeting in probably late 2021 where Donna Palmer said, it takes a lot of time to parse all this out every year. And
Right.
make sure that it's right at the township levels. So make sure that you bake in enough to make it so that
Right,
we're
because
not
not,
losing money.
when I was at the road commission, not only every year you put it on the tax roll, but then during the year, someone sells their house. So they come in, it's like, okay, what do I owe? And run the numbers, find out what they owe at the time of closing and make sure that, so it's not just once a year, it's sometimes, depending how big the SAD is, how many people sell their homes doing that, or they come in and just want to pay it off. So it's like all those things, add up. And a lot of it, don't really get charged out properly, but yeah, what is that cost?
So I apologize, I didn't catch this sooner, but it's jumped at me too.
That's why we're reviewing it.
Yeah, that's right. All these questions, and we can take it and bring it back and polish it up and. Yeah, okay, so.
This is not one for us, it's one to bring it to the board.
Yeah, like we
Well, or, Donna Palmer or somebody.
Yep.
Or find someone, another municipality, get 2 or 3, and it's like, okay, someone's using 3, obviously someone's using 0.5, someone's using whatever, figure out what we think is reasonable for Scio. I did have another one on page 5, D, official petitions efficiency. 75%, fine, but by the state law, you still have to get 51% of the frontage.
Minimum.
Right, so you can have 2, but you just can't have the 75%. You have to have. The minimum is
Well,
51.
We actually, the township can set anything above 51%. It just can't be below 51%.
Right, I know, that's what I'm saying, but this is saying 75% of the parcel owners, but the other requirement is 51% of the frontage.
I'm sorry,
Page 5 under segment B. So that's why I think you want both, 51% of the frontage. Then go on. I mean, you could use a higher number too, I guess, if you want. I mean, but
yeah, they're just, I know that they had talked about, it's been talked about, they just didn't want, 51% and then have 49%.
right, that's what I'm saying, if you had both, you have at least the frontage which complies with the law. Then 75% makes sure the neighborhood really does want it. It's not gonna be a split neighborhood where half the neighborhood wants it, half the neighborhood doesn't. This way, like a super majority wants this improvement.
I thought we used 65%, we talked about this last time.
Yeah, that's, Yeah, but I think in the Bloomfield, they had a higher number or something. I mean, we can, but it's gonna boil down to what the the board or the township wants. So I'll make a note and ask. And we'll go from there, and I believe that with the previous board before 2020, they said 65%.
Okay.
Frontage.
No, just 65% of signatures of the parcel.
You still have to have the frontage. Because you'd have someone that had, let's say, over 50% of the frontage, let's say the lots weren't equal. But a lot of people, you know, it's a bunch of smaller lots, but one person could control. If he was saying no, or he or she, they were saying no. You couldn't force it, I don't think. Because the law does say 51%.
Well, that's signatures, not calculation of parcel.
Well,
Cost.
signatures of frontage. You calculate frontage.
We're saying 75% of parcel owners.
Right, but not equally equal, not if it's not, the frontages that are not equal, it does may not equate out. It could be a scenario where
They included Public Act 188 because, oh, here it is.
the large frontage people,
If it's 75% of the population, which is the way I read this, doesn't that make frontage irrelevant?
the statute states you don't get to check it both.
The other thing that happened,
I have put a note in, so I'm just.
Yeah, I mean,
I
if legal says it's fine, I mean,
I just put something in the document asking a question, so.
right.
so the other.
No, I like the
thing
75% or 65. I think that makes sense because you don't want to divide a neighborhood, but generally you want to make sure it complies with the frontage requirement too.
So it's not relevant for this necessarily, but the other thing that happens is HOAs have different percentages that are built into their bylaws. So ours is 75%. We agreed as a board, we needed to be 90%. We got 97%.
Well, yeah, because you would have to, in your HOA, if you wanted a special assessment, you would still have to go to your residents first before you came to the board. Yes, or to the township, I mean. Yeah, okay.
Do we need to say anything about that? Like HOAs or?
No, well, they should have all their own rules.
Yeah,
Right. 'Cause each one's gonna be different. They're just, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a no then.
so
you
that,
don't need that.
No.
no, don't make it more complicated.
I just thought we should all realize. that.
Okay, here, under, this is PA 188-41.723, written objections, petition, filing, signatures, determining record owners. So in the beginning, the township board may proceed to carry out an improvement as provided in this act unless written objections to improvement are filed with the township. So they talk about that, which would be, let's say for a road project, that would be under B. And that's the 20% of record owners of land, or I'm sorry. Record owners of land constituting more than 20% of the total frontage upon the road, bicycle path, or sidewalk. For an improvement under. It's a little weird if written. Okay, so the written objections are if the township imposed a SAD.
Right.
And then, let's say they come back with a 20% saying no, and then the district could come back with another petition, and they are saying the record owners of land constituting more than 50% of the total frontage.
Right, 3B, right.
Yeah. So under. Do with it.
It's greater than 50%. Yeah. Yeah, it's really more than 50, yeah, I like it. That means 20%.
But yeah, it would.
50.1 probably, technically.
So Roy, you're saying under D, it should say the official petition requires, we'll just, say- right here, it says 75% of parcel. Or it should say of record owners of land constituting more than, wait a minute. Either record owners of land constituting more than, that's where the 70, or let's say 65% of total frontage? Or no?
Well, I guess if you go back to the law, set under section 3, A says owners constituting more than 50% of the total land area. So they have that in there, but then they also have 50% of the total frontage, B. So the laws are saying both. We bumped up our 50% on the land or the parcels. I think that's where you're sort of trying to imply, right? In its parcels, 75% of the parcels, everyone sort of gets one vote.
Yeah.
Type thing.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like would be the A part of it. And we want 75 rather than 50. But simply the B part would be you need at least over 50% of the frontage. So
So this must also constitute greater than 50% of frontage or something like that.
Yes.
We'll have legal figure out the language.
Mhm.
Let's put something in and then they can wordsmith.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I just take the similar language was in the statute, under section 3B, 41 point.
Well, if you had, let's say a parcel, there's 4 parcels and one parcel has 50% of the road frontage, then they could either bring it on or squash it.
Corner parcels always, when I did these, the corner people, you had to get the corner people because the corner people have frontage this way and this way. Versus people in the cul-de-sacs have this. I mean, it's just the way the law is written. I mean, I can't,
Well, but that goes back to it, depending on how you're gonna allocate funds, they're gonna have more road frontage, so they would be assessed a higher number, so they need to be on
Well,
board.
If
Usually we
it's
just split-
calculated that way, because
If
there's
it
so
is,
much
right.
grade
Well,
that's
It's calculated.
yeah,
That's why, I think that's,
weird.
who knows why, what is 19, whatever year this was, 54, or, what. I know it's set up for a lot of lakes, that's what, they're trying to get
Mm.
parcels around lakes, roads improved, I guess, I don't know. I wasn't there.
Well, apparently it was a real life scenario in order to make it into statute.
Right,
Yeah.
so that's why.
I can see it
We
from
have
both
both scenarios that it's covered. If legal says you don't have to. I would think you do, because it's in here.
Well, that'll make it fun for the neighborhood lead. Figure that one out. Well, anyway, we'll send it over.
Most situations, it's really not going to matter, because most parcels are pretty, and in subdivisions, pretty close. I mean, the corner lots are bigger than the cul-de-sacs, but overall, you generally are gonna have, someone having, half, one side of the road's all one person. Or, 50% of the frontage type thing, but I guess, I'm sure it exists somewhere.
Yeah. Okay, let's see, anything else? Did we? I mean, there was a couple of changes that you wanted, that you brought
They're
up.
they're small grammatical.
Permit.
I
Okay.
think they're in, the weird period is in.
Yeah. There is in the parentheses. Ian and I were swapping back emails about grammar.
Yeah, I was like, I'm leaving it to you two.
Is there a difference between G1 and G3? The special assessment district power division continued. But I didn't know.
Oh, you mean in the meeting agenda?
They are exactly the same if you open them. It's, I think.
Oh,
I know, I opened them, it looked the same, but I didn't know if it's like, okay, I wasn't gonna try to
Oh my
compare.
gosh.
Yeah, it looks like you want to do it twice.
So
Well, I'm not sure if you were saying, here it is, and now we're going to discuss it.
No, Granicus is weird because if you upload something and you try to delete it, it will show on the front end or the back end. I don't have it open in front of me, but it does some weird things. So, oh, well, we have one less item to go over.
Okay, so because that when I compared to, I thought it's like maybe there's something hidden in here that I haven't.
I saw it in the packet twice as well.
There's the name in both of them.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about it.
Different names, so it's got some red ink in it.
Question. Right at the beginning, it's in the first paragraph and then it's in A. Talks about benefiting properties. Who determines which properties benefit?
It goes by the benefit comes down to how the improvement, how that raises the value of that parcel. So if you have your road going from gravel to paved in front, then your parcel is receiving the benefit. I guess that's a easy way to kind of look at it. And then the same with I know we talked about streetlights. What else is under the improvements? A bike path or sidewalks, yeah, whatever. So that would come down to, really, that's when we ship it off to the project manager and then they can figure that out.
If someone disagrees with the townships, benefiting current properties, they can always come forward.
I guess I had one other, bottom of page 2 going into page 3. Said for private roads, all upfront costs of the engineering consultant to develop the official petition will be paid for by the township. Can that actually occur given all we've talked about that?
Well, see, this is where the township revolving fund comes in, and this is how it's supposed to be, that the township can deposit up to 3 mils out of the general fund. I believe it's 3 mils, and then that's would pay for the SAD or the construction, the whole thing. And then as it's paid back, it goes back in and then, revolving. So when this is, what page was that again? I'm sorry.
Bottom of page 2, top of page 3. The reading it doesn't really talk about reimbursement. And it just seems that we've been pretty firm that private roads can't get public funding, and this would be public funding.
Well, they can petition for a SAD, even though they're private, and that's where Public Act 139 comes in. But yeah, and there was also something in here that said that private roads had to pay all up front for everything. And then I was like, well, then why don't they just do their own? Okay.
So
But
we're gonna have to send
I
it,
guess
says to be
I-
reimbursed when the SAD is.
Seems like that should be clarified because I read that and it was on private road. Oh, that's good. I get this thing started. Township's gonna pay for all my engineering. Doesn't say I have to pay back.
Doesn't say I have to approve the SAD. And
Right.
Oh, and also to develop the official petition.
Where are you actually?
That's the same sentence that Bob just brought up. So for private roads, all upfront costs of engineering consultant to develop the official petition. But the engineering consultant wouldn't be creating the petition. The township should already have that petition.
So maybe that's what private roads, all upfront costs of the, all upfront costs to develop the official petition. With an engineering consultant, that sounds like,
Engineering.
right, you really don't need an engineering consultant to develop a petition.
All right.
Not saying that though, is it? Saying all upfront costs of the engineering consultant.
To develop.
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing, but my take on it is you're using the engineering consultant not to develop the petition, but to develop the plan for the petition.
Or you can get the costs. The intentions, you've got to not just do the paperwork to submit to the township, but you have to have something to base the cost estimates on.
Yeah, but they shouldn't be charged for that because, just like, you know, well, I don't know, how does that, okay, let's,
Because we are pretty far, I mean, at this point, you're in step 4 of this process, so it's like you're way past developing the petition. Right? I mean, we're into
Assume
cost estimate and engineering, so it seems like nothing's not. This was at the very beginning, step 1. But somehow I think
there's clarity needed on this.
Yeah.
That's fine.
okay, clarity, and that was, number 4, under C4. Yeah, so upon receipt of the cost estimate and preliminary plans, the township manager contacts the SAD representative. The SAD representative must formally request by writing, email, or letter that the manager develop an official petition for the proposed SAD. That includes details of the district area, a list of properties, improvement within the area, cost estimate, et cetera. Well, when the manager do the same for private roads, along with the project manager, the township manager and the project manager create that, because they will be overseeing the bidding and, I mean, the engineers,
Yeah, so I keep it, the township manager, get in, that's a sort of general term, I think, whoever that position is, but.
okay, well, we'll get clarity. It's just,
But is it your intention moving forward that the group of individuals on a private road, for example, trying to establish an SAD should pay for their own engineering costs upfront as a part of the submission of the SAD to the township?
well, and if they don't move forward with the SAD, then that's not a special assessment.
Right, it's just a cost to them to try and do it. Or is it your intention to offer the revolving funds as a fund source, and if the SAD does move forward, the revolving fund is reimbursed?
Say that again, that last part.
If they have access to the revolving fund for the engineering cost estimates and drawings, it's pretty quickly $5,000, in engineering fees. Is the intention, if the SAD moves forward, that the SAD fund would reimburse the revolving fund, so the township has no cost. But if it does not move forward, then the township's effectively paying for their engineering.
Why would the township do that? It's a private road.
Well, then the language has to be different because you can't charge for engineering without the SAD, because the special SAD
Right.
is a special assessment. So there has to be different language about just the engineering cost itself.
But in here, it says they have to do it themselves. It's all on them.
Engineering,
Going forward.
yeah, cost, on.
It does, and the way that this is worded actually shuts it down. But they're certainly not going to be happy about it. It's hard enough getting some people to sign the petition, let alone telling them they've got a $500 bill coming for the privilege.
They don't, okay, without the improvement. And did I include 130? I don't think I included 139.
Not this time, no.
Maybe I had it for last.
I believe it suggests that the township pay it, but the township basically said we don't wish to.
Right. And taxpayers should not foot the bill for that. Oh, this is from September. I grabbed the wrong folder. Okay, well, I wrote it down as a question. And let's see, that would be C4 on page 2 and 3.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody want a paper copy of the SAD policy? I have an extra. Right, okay. Well, and we talked about reading through Public Act 188 again and making sure that as much as possible that it aligns. And then also probably should read through 139. It's not as long as 188. And that's where it really gets tricky because other than, sorry, Bob, getting there. Here, we have this one, so I've been through it.
So what are we recommending about C4? We had this argument a year ago.
Well, we need clarity for private roads. And the road commission would not do an eyeball cost estimate because they wouldn't be involved for private roads. Where they would for public roads. Okay. Okay. Anything else?
What's our next step?
Well, we need to read through it again, 188 and then 139. And then I can try to get some clarity on the three parts here, H, D, and C4, and we can go from there.
So we bring it back next month.
Yeah, and there was something in here that, I don't know, I guess maybe my eyes were getting crossed from reading it too much, but it just seemed like it repeated itself in some places. And I thought, is there a way that we can just condense that? But it could just have been me, going from one thing to another and then thinking that it was the same thing, but if we can make it as simple as possible, yet as effective as possible, then anybody in Township Hall that would read it would be, oh, okay, this makes sense. Not that it's an easy thing to understand, but
Or hopefully a citizen will be able to understand.
Yes.
When they're down.
right.
I like the intention, but.
Hey, look at-
Obviously, 19, whoever wrote this in 1954 didn't have that same goal.
Well, that's 188, but policy we can. And Mariah, I'll have Mariah, I think, look over it, on top of everything else we ever doing right now. But that's her job, and as you know, this will get done. People aren't knocking on the doors trying to break down for getting a SAD at this point, so have a little bit of time.
So when we're done with this, I have another related comment.
Go ahead.
So as I was reviewing this, suddenly was reminded that in 2013, Lou had me and Cheryl Siddle asked us to put together a document that describes the process for a community to go through the SAD process. So I was kind of representing the SAD community, and she was representing the road commission. And we put together a document, which, it's kidder-esque, and, if you have any problems, call Lou, all of that. But I think the idea is a good one, and we probably should look at doing that next. I can share that with everybody.
I think, did we look at that a while ago?
We might have looked at it at the very beginning of this committee, but we haven't looked
Okay.
at it since.
It was more like 10 easy steps.
Yeah, exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's,
You've been holding out, Patrick.
right, what?
Scrap everything, put 10 easy steps. Call Patrick.
Well, Patrick.
If you don't answer, call Patrick again.
So that,
Yeah, I don't want to be the call Lou here.
Well, but
which is-
it's nice for the front desk to also have something that if someone comes in and asks, that they can hand them.
Yeah,
I mean, being a developer and coming into the township and saying, I don't know how this process works, what do you have for a roadmap? They used to have an outline that you could follow.
Yeah, and when I went through the sad process with the drain commission, they just handed me a packet and read through it and come back with your first petition. The petition was just to talk with them. And there was 2 petitions in there. The second one was of course to say, okay, we want to go move forward. But yeah, I would like to see something where it's pretty self-explanatory for the most part. Of course, there's gonna be some things that they wouldn't understand, but make it as easy as
Really
possible.
written for the SAD rep. But that's a great place to start.
So you and Lou, Cheryl wrote it?
Cheryl and I wrote it, you were on that committee too, you edited it as did Lou.
Don't remember.
I don't remember that.
Just getting back to this, I guess one
It's-
question. And again, I may have missed it, so I'll check with the experts. Should we include in here that even if you follow all these steps, the township has no obligation to go forward?
Sure. Yep, and that's true.
I don't know if it's in there. I just did a quick
No, it's
scan and I
not.
didn't
It
see
does
it.
not, it does not allude to 188. It does not, specifically. It's not in that item.
Hmm.
The word may is not really used here.
Let's, we could add that under. We could add a L, I guess, like or a. Township has no obligation. To approve.
After you've read all of this, still need to know.
Sorry, try
But at
next
the
year.
beginning, they'll never do it, and if
Right.
you put it at the end, they'll probably, not be happy.
Yep. Needs to be in there one place or the other though.
So township has no obligation to accept, to approve, to,
Engage.
and
How about the township reserves the right to approve or deny?
reserves the right to,
Deny the SAD request proposal. Or say have the ultimate power.
wait, if they deny it, they should do it right off the bat. They don't have to go through this. Yeah. Okay.
I would hope that would come up in those early presentations to the board. With the project manager, that person should be in contact with somebody who will red flag it. Chris could red flag it. I would hope
Absolutely.
that this is shaky.
You may come up with an engineering you didn't know about when they actually go out there and do it and go, yeah, no.
Patrick, I'm going back to that document you were talking about. Let's
Yeah.
include that in the next agenda packet.
Yeah.
Previous sad, what did you call that?
It's,
Sad booklet or
well,
pamphlet or?
this is a really long title. We need to shorten it. A description of the process for using the local special assessment district to repair neighborhood roads in Scio Township.
Description process, how about,
For the process.
okay.
So it's really for how the community and the road commission work together to get through this smoothly.
Okay. All right. Good.
And I think we should change all the Lou's in here to the project manager. In terms of who to contact or who to work with.
Mhm.
Lou is all over this document and should be the project manager.
Yeah, and I think at first it should go through the township manager, since the township manager is over the project manager,
Okay,
and then,
sure.
yeah, or not town. Yeah, she's the manager, right? It's not administrator anymore. Okay,
Okay, we'll make that change.
okay. Anything else?
news is we've taken care of 2 agenda items in one shot.
Right.
It's a subtle way to get us through this quicker.
I'll add more next time and then, just double them and it seems like feel like we're productive. Okay. Road project plan and schedule. I was organizing the RAC chair email and there was an email from you, Ian, from last March. And I opened it up and it had a list of roads. So for this, I'm sorry. Anything else on this ad document? Move on, okay. G2. So I copied and pasted your list of roads from the Excel file. I mean, a little bit,
Okay.
that for the connector roads, and I tried to upload that Excel file into a PDF onto Peak and it was a disaster. So that's why we're getting this. Roy, I believe that you are the one that pointed this out regarding
Right.
yeah, okay, so this is helpful. And then this is what Ian had sent. I don't remember this. Ian, do you remember doing all of that? I mean, it's every road, subdivision, primary, local, or did this come from somebody and you sent?
I can look
I
at
think
the
this
rest.
is from the road commission. Looks like, I don't know, unless you,
I have a lot of,
look at his traffic counts on there by the road.
Right.
I'm guessing it's their data.
Are you sure? Cause Linda just pointed out that subdivision is spelled wrong.
Yeah, it's been
We're-
making me
There's a bunch of
nuts.
engineers over there, so
Oh.
spelling.
Okay.
You weren't in charge then either. I guess.
They didn't ask, I wouldn't help them anyways. Probably look good to me.
Yeah, and then
Linda, that was just making me nuts.
so is it sent as an Excel spreadsheet?
it was, I guess,
PDF.
it looks
Well, I think
different.
that's the conversion.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you'd have to take the second or the whatever is first. And then the next section that says gravel and paved and put it first one, second one, and so on. Kind of a pain.
This,
Yeah,
Hmm.
is that,
same Excel spreadsheet.
did you take that from? It was from you. I don't know, I thought maybe you had nothing else to do one day and you just decided to put it all together and.
You rated out the road, took traffic counts.
It's amazing.
If I look at the lineage of the document, it's got my name on it. I don't believe anything, so.
Well, this is helpful because I think this will, if there is a way that we can,
The trouble I've got is I've got so many documents, it's like which one is the one? And if we can get to that maturity, then I'll put it in a place where I know it's the one. Better than nothing.
Well, so you have it in a format that's not all broken up into 8 pages. We've got
Oh, yeah.
the columns.
Yeah. And it's got filtering on as well, so I can kind of filter by different things in the Excel spreadsheet.
could you forward that to the committee, please? So we can each receive it. And then it'll be easier for us to open it up that way rather than a printed version.
Somehow these were sorted by the worst pavements. If you go down the page.
They are, what I'm looking at is, it's filtered based on surface.
Surface quality.
Well, it just says surface, it doesn't say surface. So
Drainage,
it's actually implying gravel versus paved, and what I'm looking at
Yeah,
right now.
page 9.
Worst to best, yeah.
Yeah, so those are all none of the ones all the worst, and then it keeps. We actually did rate all the gravel roads too. Remember when we did do that, so what, is there a date on this thing? 22?
22.
I know.
They have a lot of.
Oh, so that's someone, that might be someone else's title on here. I could ask someone at, the GIS guy over there.
So this is done in 22. There's not that much change in a year or two.
Well, I'm not sure though this data was collected in 22.
Okay.
I don't know. That, I'm wondering if this title was put on here.
Okay.
If I can ask.
So what is the, this is- where's, is there a key somewhere? Oh, they just have, okay, service quality and then drainage quality. I see. And you notice that none of them are a 10.
Right, yeah. He was only 10 for like 6 months.
A lot of 1s and 2s and 3s.
Yeah, and there's 4s and 5s, which that's crazy because they have Luella is listed as a 4 and that is so wrong. It's not. I wonder what they have for Burton and. Anyway, so this gives us a good beginning because we needed a list of all the roads and to put and then we have to create some type of project plan. And so speaking of tomorrow, last week, I think it was last week, it's been a long couple of weeks. Joyce, I guess, Clerk Flintoff and Manager Joyce were talking about, we have ARPA funds. I think there's, 600,000 maybe, I don't know. And we have to have those allocated by the end of the year. And if we do, then we are able to access some state funds. I don't know what the program's called. So Joyce emailed and asked, she said we're talking about using ARPA funds for the next round of road funding for next year. So, because I had mentioned that we were like, well, okay, what do we do if there's no road funding? And they said to just go ahead with our project list, get that in order. And then this is later, she came back and said that they're setting aside the ARPA funds. So tomorrow morning, we are sitting down with Matt and Cheryl and Adam, I believe. And then we're gonna hash this out, I guess, figure out, whatever. And right now, I mean, I've heard $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 for roads. So we just need to come up with the projects that we want. And WCRC will help us with that.
ARPA, I mean, I've worked with ARPA. My recollection is you have to obligate them by December of next year. And you have to 2026 to spend the money.
This is what.
Right. No, it would be worth checking. And it would be, it'd be worth, because I think the township got $1.8 million. It'd be nice to see where that $1.8 million went. Is there an accounting? Because I think they're supposed to do reports.
They have to.
Right. So it'd be nice to see where that, where that money did go.
Well, part of it went to the ambulance for the fire station. We spent around for the roads last year. I don't remember how much that was off
right.
top.
South Ridge and Uplands. Yeah.
I was
But I'm just saying it'd be nice to
Yeah.
bring that back to the roads committee so we know 1.8, 400,000 with the ambulance. I have no idea what the number, but whatever, it's like,
Okay.
so we know we have $652,522 or something. 36 cents, yeah. So then moving into 24, we can sort of say, okay, we do have money left over and find out, do we have to really spend, figure out by tomorrow?
No. So this is what I brought up to Joyce, because this will be Joyce's first year with us of going through the process with WCRC. So she said to me that we need to sit down with the road commission and figure out a list of roads so we can allocate, for or have an agreement with the road commission for the ARPA funds. And I said, well, and then she said the ARPA funds have to be allocated by the end or by December 31st. And I said, well, do we have to have an agreement with WCRC, or can we just say that we're allocating $400,000. I don't think ARPA is contingent on having the project and the agreement just as long as the township. But she didn't know that because she hasn't been through this, so that's one of the things that I think she was looking into, and I haven't. That was as of last week. The only thing I know is that tomorrow we will be sitting down with WCRC. But here's another $165,000 went to IT to bring the township up to the 21st century. You know, IT, Chris Bailey, and his expenditures, and then the generator out here has to be replaced. So that's another 70,000. So those are just things off the top of my head that I can think of right now, but I will get a list. The fund allocations since, what was it, 2020 that ARPA came about? Roy, do you remember?
No.
Since I'll
Did
just,
they act that quickly? I mean, that's when the whole thing said, but I'm trying to remember when they started giving away the money. I don't know.
seems so long ago, but it really
I
wasn't.
can't
Yeah, that
recall.
would have been right after Biden got elected. I don't think they could have done it that fast.
Too many,
Too much between.
too much other stuff.
But a lot of the information that you need really is gonna be out of the 2023 Scio Township agreement, the Washington County Road Commission, the roads that weren't funded.
Well,
That were in that agreement. Just
right.
Moving forward, they typically bring those back first.
Well, possibly, but we have other roads that if we're going to do road funding and have a project for the whole township, then I think we should include other roads. Start there. I mean, or, you know, and plus, depending on what the projects are, we may only. I mean, if it's another huge project like Uplands, can't think of anything right now that big. But that was, what, 400,000?
So,
Three something, yeah, that was a big one. So it may eat up a lot of that money and we would only do one road or one project. But we should still have a project list and then, you know, so the next 3 to 5 years, we will just keep that rolling.
So ARPA was passed March 11th, 2021.
2021. So that was passed, but when was
I
it
don't know when the money got.
allocated?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just ask going back to 2021. I'll figure. They've been keeping track of that and. Okay, so we have these 3 lists, and I think that this should cover all of them, right? Right?
oh yeah, those are all roads,
Okay,
but this should be an easier, pretty cumbersome. The spreadsheet.
right, yes, the spreadsheet, so I don't. And should it be broken down by sections of the township? Cause there should be, I think there's. You know, there's a map that shows. I think 20 sections. Is that right? Or something like that?
Yeah,
This isn't it. So, I don't know if did you talk about, sorry,
6 by 6. 6 square miles, so it should be 36 squares, right?
yeah,
The township 6 by 6. So I'm sorry, what was your?
no, that's right, 6,
6 miles, 6
We
miles.
have to pull text around them.
Yeah, and we got-
yeah,
we
and
got
part
cut
of,
by a little bit of Hanover, a little bit of Dexter.
but there should still be the sections and they just may have something cut out of them.
When we did the connector road SAD, we were very careful to make sure, in particular early on, that we sprinkled the money around so that everybody saw the impact of the millage relatively soon, within the first couple of years. I think that's a good principle in general.
So did you categorize the roads by how much work they needed, or You just,
must have.
With all the gravel connected, yeah, I mean, we just went out and drove them. I mean, Lou and Doug Fuller created a rating. It was sort of easy because they're all pretty in bad shape. They didn't do anything in like 15, 20 years, so it's sort of like a lot of ones, so it wasn't. And that's why you could, all of them needed something, but that's where I said, okay, we can't do all of them in this area. So we did some up here, did some up here, and then sort of, then slowly get them all done.
but how would you choose if they're all bad?
Well, we had to start somewhere. And I
Yeah.
worked with David Reed, Lou, myself, and others, like, okay, let's start at Marshall over here, do, 2 miles Marshall.
So wherever you guys live?
No, I didn't live on Marshall.
Well, there's funny
We
ones.
started at Parker Road on Marshall.
Tubbs is terrible, but not that many people drive Tubbs. But to the people who live there,
Mhm.
it's a huge
Right.
problem.
Well, we wanted to do Tubbs earlier, but the people on Tubbs didn't want Tubbs done until more engineering was done.
There was a
Tubbs
couple,
was
couple
glad.
years of discussions. on
Yeah,
those.
so, yeah.
Yes, it's.
But on the ARPA, I did find the deadline to report or spend the funds. Funds must be obligated by December 31st, 2024, and jurisdictions have until December 31st, 2026 to fully expend the funds. Spending should be used for the costs incurred after March 30. Well, spending should be used for costs incurred after March 3rd, 2021. So you could start incurring costs after March 3rd, 2021. But
Yeah.
so we do have a little bit more time. I mean,
Well, to spend them, but we have to allocate them.
We have a whole year.
At 24.
Oh, 24, yes, we're at the end of 23, okay. Well, this is what they're talking or told me, so I don't know what their reasoning is. But there's something about the state too, that if we use those funds or allocate them by December 31st, then the state gives us money. And I don't know what that is, so, I mean, if we can get extra money for roads or whatever, then. But talking with Joyce, allocating the funds is different than having all the projects,
Completed.
well, a list
Yeah,
and,
written
yeah,
out.
and then an agreement, and I think that's where she's not, and maybe I'm wrong, but we'll find out tomorrow and I'll put it into
Because
a,
that's why it says you're obligating them by this date and then you have another 2 years to build them.
But
So if you put it in the budget, we're gonna obligate. Let's say it's 400,000. I'm just grabbing it, 300,000 for roads and 100,000 for culverts. Is that enough? Is that enough of a placeholder to then have some committee, our committee or some other committee, whatever, sort it out? It's like, okay, let's prioritize what we want to do with this $400,000. So.
I'm glad you brought up culverts, because there's that second round of grant funding that should be coming up soon. And I think Chris said that he does grants. Chris Ching?
Okay.
No, nobody knows, nobody's asked him?
I know, Chris, I never asked you, do you do grants?
I think somebody asked him at the board, I think so, and I'm excited about that, because there's lots of grants that keep passing in front of Scio, because we can't do anything with them.
Right. Those grants I know did require a match, so you would want to put save some money aside for the match that grant.
Okay. Okay, so how do we go about the road project list and getting a system?
Well, first, why don't we come back and find out, do we have $2 or,
No, we have to work on this anyways.
I don't know, but it'd be helpful to know. Do we have, $1 million to spend or
No.
$10 to spend? That's what I'm saying. It's what
Closer to
is
10.
the. Right, well, that's what I'm saying, because we could spend a lot of time and then we find out, oh, we got this huge list, but we only do.
Well,
2
but
roads.
this list will be ongoing for the next 5 years. I mean, it will just like the other one, we'll just keep rotating things. And then because we have to, in the future, soon, we're gonna have to, go for funding, millage or whatever, because this is gonna be the last year of ARPA. I think we're running out.
So it's 2 steps. We need to identify what to do for next year. And then we still have the obligation of assuming we go forward somehow and get funding. How do we cover the township on what sort of revolving basis to cover all the roads?
Well, with that Roy's list, this spreadsheet that shows,
What was
what
that?
roads were worked on last and what's coming up. We have the roads that were languishing from the 2022 Washtenaw County Road Commission road agreement in 2023 that they'd suggested and we did not do because there was not funding for them.
We did all of them.
Did we do all of them?
Stein to Joy,
22? 23 we did.
Parker to Baker.
I thought we had a couple of.
Do you know we didn't do? I know. You know.
No, but commercial roads. I thought we had a couple of weird gravel ones that got missed out of the 2022 that were left over.
Oh, we got everything.
Maybe we did.
I don't know. I thought we did.
I can reel them off if that helps.
Yeah,
And then there's somewhere in the end of January-ish, we'll get the new 2024 road agreement from the county.
so the last year's list, everything was covered, even the commercial roads. There was the 4, I believe. There was something in the, like Newman.
They had Dino and Betty on there.
No, Dino and Medi weren't because the DDA is still trying to figure out what.
Well, there was 2 2023 agreements. The county first gave it to us with everything, the commercial roads and the private roads, and then it was asked that they separate it into 2 different documents.
Right, because when the budget came up, we had to split them and they were. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, there were, gosh, I can see there was 4 roads from the commercial, the DDA district that were on there. I'll have to pull up the budget.
But then developing, well, it's all, I mean,
Yeah.
first we need to figure out if we have money in 24 and if we want to do some projects in 24. And then developing a longer range plan. I mean, one thing, the road commission, they would look at is this pacer evaluation, that's in here. Which shows the greens, the yellows and the red, good, fair, poor roads. And then ideally you develop a plan. You don't just fix all the poor roads. You want to try to keep the fair roads in fair condition, it's because sometimes that's just surface treatments rather than waiting until the roads fail and trying to keep the good roads. So that's where you try to develop a plan where you're investing in keeping the good roads is good, and fair roads, trying to bring them up, and you're gonna slowly get through all the poor roads. Some people just like taking care of all the poor roads, which you can do, but then your good roads and fair roads just are continuing, so you're always spending a lot of money rather than just trying to be more efficient and take care of, roads that are in decent shape, keep them in decent shape.
So I've got a note here that we really should be looking at the bang for the buck.
Mhm.
So of those ones that are, let's say 3s and 4s, where we're really trying to protect them from becoming total messes. Just that's hypothetical.
Mhm.
Which are the ones that have the most traffic? And will affect the community's transportation around town? That seems to me to be an important criteria.
The tricky part there is the traffic volumes are gonna be the primary roads for the most part. I mean, the Zeebs, the Liberties. the
I'm
Jacks,
looking at the ones that are
the
lower
subdivision.
pacer ranks.
Okay.
And then also have the most traffic, that combination of the 2. I mean, this is what you do for a living. That was my
Right,
thought.
but that's what I'm saying, the higher volumes are gonna be the primary roads. When you get into the local, we don't really have that many local paved roads. We have pieces of Marshall, pieces of, a lot of little pieces of, most of the paved locals are subdivision roads.
Mhm.
Then the traffic volume becomes, just depends how big the subdivision is it a sub,
Yeah.
they have a cul-de-sac that has 6 homes,
Mhm.
or is it something like Polo Fields, or your neighborhood that has, 300 or 400 homes type of thing.
Yeah.
So that's where. But yeah, I'd be happy to help someone. I've done this before. Develop the criteria, then you can say, okay, let's apply that to these. Basically 30 miles of road, the local subdivision roads, develop some type of criteria, it's like, okay. And evaluate them, and then that's sort of what we were trying to do is, when we did the plan, we said so many miles of this each year, so many miles of this each year, so many miles of this each year. To do that, you need X dollars, I mean, I don't have that in front of me right now, but that's when we sat down, three of us like, okay, it'll make the most sense. And, somehow, 2 or 3 miles of this, so many miles of this, so many miles of this.
And we had costs for each type.
Right.
So do you want to, again, just having one long list of roads, you know, here like this, split it up by section? I don't know. I mean, I guess just, who wants to be the subcommittee for this, right?
That's everyone, I don't know.
We want to join
Look at
your
this list, and Ian just sent it out to us. Couldn't that be the basis of the roads we look at? Isn't that all the roads that we're talking about? And then my question would be, okay,
I don't know if it's comprehensive.
well, to start.
It looks comprehensive enough.
And then it would be conditioned, then I'd ask, what would be the remediation? Are there different remediations for each of the roads? And is there a ballpark estimate? And that gets back to, you know, how much money you spend, et cetera. I think we need to slice and dice it a little bit finer to say, okay, I want to do Huron River Drive, Wagner Truck. Paved road, but all it really needs is some more rocks on top of it. Doesn't need or whatever. What, you know, what are the different things we would do to a paved or a gravel road? And how much would each of those actions cost?
Create some kind of priority matrix or something. Like,
Well, part of the priority will be the condition.
yeah,
But then,
Cost
that's where I'm
plays into
saying to further slice and dice it by, okay, we decided these 10 gravel roads need something. But 5 of the 10 just need this, the other 5 need more than this. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we,
That's what we were
we sort of allocate, say, okay, some we can, like, gravel roads that haven't had any gravel, they're probably gonna need 6 inches of gravel and some drainage work. The ones that we've been doing work on, we can just touch them up with, you know, 4 inches of gravel every so many years.
We know how much per foot, linear foot, each of those actions are, right?
Yeah, the cost associated, right, per inch type thing, and yeah, so, yeah, and then the same thing with, that's where like, okay, a surface treatment's this, crack sealing's this, mill and resurfacing's this, total pulverization, which is sort of like rebuilding road is this. So that's why you sort of like, okay, try to balance, do a little bit preventive, and here again. And then you need to sort this, like, okay, let's get rid of all the primary roads. You need to create a table for the gravel subdivision and a table for the gravel.
just leave it all in there and use Excel to filter the data.
Right.
So,
Okay, go ahead. We have our subcommittee.
But it sounds like Joyce is looking for this now because she
No,
wants
well,
to allocate
She only
based on
wants,
data.
yeah, but she doesn't need the whole, like,
30-year revolving
yes, just
effort.
whatever we put, and again, just, we don't know what, let's say we have 10 roads and we have enough money for 5 roads, but at least she has the 10 and maybe we have enough money for 10 roads. They both, yeah, she just said, don't worry about the cost at this point. We just need to have some type of plan.
And then when you get into a subdivision, if a subdivision's in poor condition, you want to start sort of at the back and build your way out. So let's say the worst road is at the beginning. You don't want to do that first because then all your construction equipment's gonna have to go over that.
Right.
So you start in the back and work your way out, even though that back road may not be as bad as condition as the front road. You're gonna work your way out of that subdivision, so you're not destroying what you did with all the equipment.
So this list would not have subdivisions that are private, right? They, okay, I just wanna make sure that there's nothing in there that shouldn't be.
it's got like 100 and
It shouldn't anyways, I don't know.
it's got about 172 different lines.
Is there that much? It's not a number.
And I look at some of them, it's like Fairway Park Court, Polo Fields Drive to Dead End subdivision.
That's way at the bottom.
Isn't that private?
No,
No.
the Polo Fields it's public,
The whole thing is public.
which is kind of
That's just the way they developed it. It had 8 phases.
It's only 0.04 miles, right? So it's, there's nothing to it.
I'm just like looking at how many lines, how many rows there are. There's a lot.
I think one of the things we gotta do is decide how we're gonna prioritize. Do we look for the longest roads and the gravel roads first, or
Well, yeah, and
at least, put filters on it?
I think you need to create a separate list of gravel road, local subdivision, because the local gravel roads, the connectors we've been doing for the last 10+ years or 9 years, whatever. So I think those are in pretty decent shape, but it's the local subdivision roads, the gravel ones that we haven't done anything to.
But
so
we could just filter like, I just feel today we'll have paved roads, just what you're talking about it, so.
did you eliminate the primary? Because that, the road commission would cover those generally.
Is that contained in here?
Yeah,
it's
Powder River
C.
Drive, Wagner to Tubbs, primary,
Yeah.
Categories.
9 and 10,
C.
or road 9 and 10.
Would it be fair to say that the longer the road, the more traffic it gets?
Not necessarily.
I mean, most subdivision roads, there's no traffic counts on anyways, because, unless someone asks for it specifically, generally.
so how many neighborhoods do we have? I mean, that are public, Arbor Point, full of fields.
That's probably, I don't know, it's 50, 30, I don't know.
Well, they got,
Seems like in the agreement, Scio View, private
it's
or,
private.
okay,
Well, it's just an interesting question. There's some of the subdivisions, I honestly don't know if they're public or private. Thinking about, the one off of Miller, or off of Maple. Wagner between Miller and Dexter Road.
Wagner between,
I mean, for the most part, road commission knows which are the public roads. Private
Okay.
roads become a little gray because some of our private roads are sometimes just a shared driveway.
yeah,
Those are like,
I can tell you there's 34,
Ian's almost done.
there's
Stop.
30,
A little more time.
34 segments that are classified as subdivision gravel. If I take the gravel off and put the paved on, there's 100 segments, and if I do both of them, there should be 134, which there is. Somebody who wrote a spreadsheet, even if it's me or somebody else, put a count based in on filtering, which is exactly what we
Yeah,
want.
and this is road
what
commission.
about connector roads though? Those are included in there,
Yeah, but you can just filter out.
or they don't, but the road commission doesn't call them
Yeah,
Local,
they do, local
connector.
collector or connected.
Yeah.
subdivision.
If I filter out paved, there's 25 local connected gravels.
And can you next sort
yeah,
for the
okay.
ones that are 4 and below? Okay, so score 4.
Well, what's the actual
Could
assignment?
you do that next?
Well, we need to have
Yeah.
a plan, I mean, a road, which roads are, however you decide.
Come up with a mechanism to classify and go after,
And then prioritize.
isn't
And
it?
prioritize, yep.
We also need the records of when roads were last worked and what was done.
Well, that's,
But we have.
We do, it's.
Well, we
just
do,
not
we have the
this.
gravel roads, 29 gravel roads, whatever that we've done.
Right.
I've got that, I can send that out again if we want.
But we need the paved roads, what if anything was done on them over the last 10 or whatever years.
Pacer information will sort of have. It's hard to tell how old it is, how it, a lot of it's just gonna be a condition.
so is this the pacer that you're talking about? So it's a map, not a list,
Right,
because I couldn't find,
it's probably, you can convert, I'm sure there's a list, you can make it a list, I mean, actually, that's what this is. Surface quality,
okay,
I just wonder if we ought to get together, subcommittee. Put this on a big screen, an Excel file. And noodle how we're gonna prioritize and do the filters on the big screen so we all see it.
you,
And that way we agree on the process and then go after the roads, I suppose, after, right now, we're still talking process.
Trustee would be able to, you'd have to contact her to find out about the room. I mean, to use those screens.
Oh, that room, right, the little room.
The little
Little
one,
room, yeah, it does, it's
Yeah.
fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, either one, whatever is available. There's a,
I mean, do you agree? What do you think?
yeah. Then it's also that we talked about when we did the one 10 years ago. Then that's where you sort of divide it up. Cause let's say all the bad roads are in that northwest area of, you probably don't want to spend all the money there. It's like, let's spread it out. And that's where, when you're doing multiple years, it's a lot easier to do. When you only do it 1 year of funding, it's sort of like, okay, you don't have that much money. When you do it over multiple years, like, okay, you're doing a road here, 2 here, 1 here, the next year, 2 here, 1 here, 1 here. And then it all starts to fill in. And that's where you can,
But that would be after you set up the criteria
yeah,
and decide which roads you really want to work on. And then you see where it falls out.
right.
And you say, oh, it's 50% in this quadrant, not good, right?
Right.
That'd be kind of after.
well, and this, having all of this ready for when the road funding, then we'll, let's say there's the millage for 1.85, is that the number that you were kind of tossing around? 0.85? Yeah, so then that will help narrow down as well. Yeah. Okay. So the subcommittee again, Bob? Roy, he's looking away. Don't look at me. And Ian,
Somewhat on the periphery, yeah.
I know you're dealing with the sad thing here. This, no,
I'm not retired.
well, and
That was going to be my answer.
Yeah, I'm slammed all
I'm
the time.
I'm the accountant, so the next couple of months.
Well, I don't think we're not gonna get this done the month of December, I guarantee you that, so.
Okay.
I don't see us meeting in December, because I'm pretty, but we can,
I
but
mean,
here again, it's not like we need this January 1st anyways.
bouncing around
Well-
ideas is fine.
that's right. Because we don't need to have the road list to the road commission, the agreement until was May. But,
February, March, you want to start giving information.
and then this meeting tomorrow, okay. Whatever they say tomorrow, I'll put into a report. And
Yeah,
I'll
'cause
go
I
to the
mean,
next
You
packet.
guys sit down tomorrow and they say they want you to do these 6 roads, and whoever's in that meeting, Joy says, yeah, we're gonna do these 3 roads or 6 roads. Then we have a whole year, because that's already been picked for next year, right? Then we are sort of developing a plan for a millage or something, because after this money runs out, we're gonna develop a plan which is gonna include how we're gonna fund it, and this is sort of the list. So then we'd have more than 3 weeks, we'd have at least 3 months.
We have to do this regardless, is
Right.
what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yes,
I think.
So I'd say,
Going
I'll
here.
look, I'm pretty, but early January, we just set you up as optional,
Yeah. After,
Sad will be done.
okay, all right, we'll set that intention to.
sadly, this have to be done.
Yeah, that will be
Once we
done.
set up the filters in the process, I think then it'll flow pretty easy.
Yeah.
It may take some trips out to the streets itself, but.
I mean, that's with having a map, that's where it's like a segment, but then you find out where's this segment, what's this segment tied into? I mean, I work visual, I like looking at maps, because then it's like, oh, this is connected to that, and so
Yeah.
before we do this, we need to do this versus this just sort of like, okay, there's whatever, how many, 134 segments? Or something.
Way more. I think we were filtering out a lot.
I think when you just ran the numbers. you said-
Yeah,
It's
that was-
176 rows and it starts on row 6.
Yeah, but I think there's some other filters that are active.
Okay, we'll figure it out. We're not gonna figure that out. We don't have to figure it.
It's
Okay,
irrelevant right
So the road project subcommittee, I guess.
Even if you get the 170 figured out, that's a pretty good dent. If we missed 30 or 40 roads.
218 less whatever the headers are. 218 less 5, 213 roughly.
I saw wrong. It's the corrected.
There's some filter in there.
Didn't Lou do this years ago, and it's the same thing?
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
For the connector though, just the
He
connector.
just- he didn't do it,
Yeah,
he didn't
no,
only did
the
that.
rest. Because the SAD only covered the connector.
Somebody's thinking just like we are. If you look at this if you look at this spreadsheet, it's got surface quality, drainage quality.
Right.
It's got priority multiplied 2 previous columns. Someone's,
Yeah, I'm guessing,
we
guy
might,
named Alan, who's the GIS guy, set this up.
we might want to add some other columns which are like cost opportunity or something, you know. It's not in terrible shape, but $1,000 now might save you $1 million later
That's what I
on.
was saying, the other filter would be, what do I do for this
That
gravel road
Yeah, yeah.
versus that one?
Yeah.
That'd be a different filter,
Yeah,
because that would impact the cost.
I think that's the challenge.
So
Okay,
Ian will be our filter expert.
this is really cool.
Press the
Okay,
button, it's.
so
there.
the three of you will bring a
Excel.
report every meeting and then whatever you're doing. And keep us up to date on what, actually, it sounds pretty fun.
It's a computer
It says
says no.
count right at the top, 171, and distance 77.81 miles, I guess.
Where are you looking?
At the very top,
213 I got.
it says 171.
Yeah, I think you've got something filtered somewhere. It's
This
213.
is what you sent me.
Yeah, but I've changed it
He's
since then.
filtered it before. he
In
sent it.
rows in here too. Well,
It's like the train station in Harry Potter, isn't it?
Yeah.
underneath here is
Not
other
there.
stuff, you can't even see it.
We'll figure it out.
So just send
not
to
the direct-
Patrick whatever you want in the next packet to keep us updated. And we'll just include it and go
We
from
might not have
there.
anything, but that's next packet.
Well,
The next meeting's in
you
January.
never know. I think Bob he's really excited about this. He
Bob
might
is
have it all
already-
done.
It's the most excited I've seen Bob in quite a while.
Yeah, no, this is
We'll have it
great.
done by
These
our
are
next
cool.
meeting.
Just task oriented. Tell me what you want, when you want, it, how high you want it.
She wants it by January.
But the meeting is January 3.
That's our next meeting, yes.
You know, it's filming there, so, yeah.
Well, and once this is in place, it'll just be every year we know what we do.
We'll be
or
able to sell
what we're gonna
this, we'll
do.
make millions.
Yeah, what?
We'll be able to sell this.
Oh, and then now we're on to a whole different
Wow.
topic.
Now we
To pay for the roads,
Yeah.
we won't get to funding.
Copyright this thing, program, all its filters and.
You only think they'll end up forming their own little consulting group. They will,
Oh,
they'll have their own owner, they'll sell it to the township.
yeah, we've got to have some type of clause in there to, all of us reap the
I
benefits.
can think of worse.
I am retired. Not to work or consult.
Yeah, just these. Okay. Oh, this is good. Okay, so G2 is anything else for G2? Move on. Okay, so and then G4, we decided to,
Yeah, G3 we're not doing.
GC,
'cause we-
that's good.
we
Done
can
it.
go over G3 if you want.
No,
And then G4, I guess we'll bring this back. I mean, or should we just table it indefinitely until we have more members?
That could be months.
No, we're all going to be soliciting over the holidays for new members.
happy Christmas. Would you like to join the road commission?
Here's a
Sorry,
card.
happy
He's
hol-
practicing. He's
Happy
right.
holidays. I stand corrected. I
We're
apologize.
just gonna randomly put the invitations into maybe 6 to 10 of the winter
You won the
tax bills.
lottery.
Yeah. And if you've got one,
What a
you've got
membership on the road
Like Willy
advisory.
Wonka with
Yes, with the golden ticket, yeah.
But if we bring new members on, we're not gonna want them to be chair and vice chair anyways, right?
Until we figure out
'Cause I
what's
mean,
going
I
on.
mean, this is,
Depends on if we like them or not.
no, but I mean, it's having some experience on what we've been talking about for the last 2 years. I don't know.
Well,
Valid
right.
point.
Does
We're all here now.
Does anybody wanna take on any particular role? I mean, we should just do it.
I'll nominate Linda as chair and Ian as vice chair.
Back to where we were before.
You vice
I
chair?
know I wasn't vice chair before.
But you are now.
Feels like it.
I'm willing to continue to help with the secretary's stuff. And we'll be moving on, so.
Well,
gotta figure out
are
the
you?
minutes.
Is this your last meeting?
This is my last meeting.
Okay,
Where are you going?
Planning commission.
he gets the big job.
You got promoted.
We're not good enough for you anymore.
You're gonna have fun. You're already on the ZBA, so you see a lot of the planning commission.
Well, Patrick had asked for help and Roy or Bob, are you willing to help Patrick so that we've got a second secretary? It sounded like the division of labor was someone taking the minutes and then someone doing the rest of it.
Also, right now you take the minutes and then you give them to
I
Patrick.
write up the minutes. Shoot them out, that's it.
Then he sends them to me, I take a look at them and I pass them on to Christie. And then all the email that comes in, I put in PDF form and then pass them on.
And then I go into Peak, Granicus and upload. I take off a big load from Christie.
So really, during the minutes, tracking the minutes is really when we start the meeting, just voted on action items. Public comments, you really just need to record who, because obviously these things are all recorded. It's not like we need to record what they're saying. It's like Mrs. Smith, Mr. Jones, and action items. I'm just asking.
The depth of the minutes.
Well, Bob has done a really good job in the minutes, so I don't think we're gonna allow him to leave.
Oh,
But-
you can't just resign and you guys get to be voted to resign. You have to accept his
Yeah,
resignation.
right.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Denied.
And I mean, just follow how it's pretty simple. To the point, yeah.
I try to summarize as much as possible. It's not like the ZBA where they transcribe everything, or the other meetings where they transcribe it, it's just not necessary.
Should I be willing to help? I know probably January 3rd, I probably won't be here.
Well, and Roy, aren't you the chair for,
Co-chair, P3,
you're not a chair and,
co-chair.
oh, co-chair. So what do you do as co-chair? Do you have a lot of stuff? Okay, then you get the minutes. For
Wait,
this.
someone else does minutes.
No, for here.
Oh, yeah. So I guess I'd be willing to help out unless, if Bob, if you want to help out, that's, I don't need it. I'm happy to not help out.
Or Bob,
Or we
you
can
wanna
just
do the
split 'em.
minutes?
I want to do minutes, I'll help out.
How about you fill in when if I'm not here in the meeting?
Starting with the 1st of January.
By the way, I'm not gonna be here first.
Okay,
So I guess we need some type of motion.
all in favor of Roy taking
Well, no, I think
minutes?
the other motion is first.
Oh.
The chair, Ian, vice chair, Patrick and Roy, co-chairs,
Oh, secretaries.
co-secretaries, yep. Sorry.
I don't know. Does Linda want to be chair? Does
I'm happy to do it. I don't know how to work Granicus, but
Jillian?
Well, and you keep saying that you're so busy and you're the secretary of the DDA. I mean, I don't mind, Patrick and I have a system that we've gotten down and it's worked pretty well, I think. I mean, it doesn't matter.
You want to keep doing it?
Yeah, I mean, it's taken a while to get into a groove, but it's been working out.
What about the stress level you with the board of trustees though?
You want me to quit the board?
you may want to.
You may want to. I just see how stressed you are on those meetings and then when these come up right afterwards, that's why I always say, take care of yourself.
Well, yeah, if I had a butler and a, gardener and everything else, but
I do like the idea of rotating the chair. Rather than just so, I don't know, just some value.
That's
Well,
where
if
we're
we're
missing
gonna-
the two people, yeah, you know, you can't, we
Yeah,
can't
we're-
rotate very far because there's only so many people here.
Yeah, so if we rotate the chair, then that means somebody else here, well, would have to step in. Because it's already been Linda, myself.
Well, I mean, yeah. Or unless Ian wants to be chair.
I will not request that
I say,
position.
if you wanna continue doing it, do it.
Yeah.
If you got the rhythm set up and you're comfortable.
I'm good with that. If you're not bent out and stressed out and you're okay doing it, I'm okay with that. If you don't wanna do it, I'm okay with Linda doing it. I think all of us can do it.
Well, and you know what I would like to see is to have more members, get them in here and then secretary, whatever. That would take, because you're on another committee, I'm on the board and in LASA and those are, I don't have to do as much for those. And then we're short two, right?
Oh, it's really gonna get
Or
thin
three.
with Bob gone. If Bob's gone and Roy's gone for the January meeting, we have a quorum if we all show up. Is anyone else gonna be out for January 3?
Not me.
Okay, well, but I just mean we're at
How
the point
many
where we
do we
really
get
can't,
for?
we have to have 5.
Yeah, we all have to be here.
All of us for January 3rd,
Yes.
and then, okay,
Bob waits another month. Sorry.
There's nothing going on the planning commission this month.
you don't have meetings?
For Jan, the meeting next week there's nothing pertinent. It's gonna be an orientation meeting, given all the new people.
Right,
I don't think there's one on the second month or the fourth Monday, but that one been canceled. Or it tends to be,
Yeah, almost never have that.
yeah.
So potentially you
So
will be willing to be
I-
on the 3rd if we need
If
you.
we need, I can submit after the January 3rd meeting.
I think that would make
You might
sense.
drag your feet, because if somebody gets cold.
You just
I
got,
can put it off.
just
just
for
got
another
an email
meeting,
from Jessica,
yeah, let's,
just got an email from Jessica
It
about
says-
ARPA. Just came out,
what?
ARPA round 2 application.
And when-
Asking for help working on a submittal.
I didn't,
I don't have,
yeah.
I got it.
you did?
Yeah.
Forwarding on to roads
Yeah,
committee.
just got it now.
$4
This one
million.
right
Yeah,
Says 1.2 million.
Now, did this somehow magically appear from some email system somewhere?
They do. Either
Oh,
that or
Water Resources
Oh, this is water resources stuff.
has opened the second round of application for the
Okay.
ARPA. Okay, this has to do with the culverts, yeah.
All that stuff.
so this is not.
Okay,
So this is like last year's, but round 2. We
which,
didn't submit last year, right?
no, because we didn't have,
We got it really late.
Right.
We had like 6 days or something, if
Yeah.
I remember right. It was very close.
I wanna take advantage of this. Well, I mean, we all, that, you know, all of us, but
Well, who did you say is our grants guy?
Chris, but he doesn't start till middle of January. However, Manager Joyce does have, background in grant writing, so maybe we can take advantage.
Should we shove it the new business and keep going on where we are with election of
Yes.
officers?
Okay, let's just put this. Oh, also.
So do you need application January 3rd? Sorry, I'm getting off track.
Is that the date for that grant? Submittal?
Let's finish.
Okay,
Yeah, let's
What do you
finish
think?
where we are.
no, that's okay. I'm just writing that down. We don't have to talk about it, just so.
Well, I guess I did make a motion. I don't know if anyone seconded my motion.
Nope,
Okay,
sorry.
all right, that's fine.
I mean, unless Linda.
I don't think I can second it, so.
I'll second it if we wanna have further discussion, so there's an option. Do you want it?
If we wanted to switch it from Jillian, I'll take it. We're just, there's a small merry band of characters here, so. If you would like to continue on, please do. I agree with Patrick that you have a lot on your plate. Some weeks it's
Well, and so do
pretty
you.
tenuous. I do.
Yeah. I think, except, yeah. No, I'll continue until we have more members. And if I end up going to a different committee, then of course, but that's not the plans for right now, because, things change in Scio quite a bit. And I would also like to, as chair, there's some things I would like to finish, like put this revolving fund fiasco to bed, so we can.
I'll not put it to bed. We need to create a understandable way to handle it, and so that can be used as opposed to just sitting there.
Well, that's,
doing nothing, but properly.
yeah, and that's at PM gap right now with Ally. She's trying to figure out, because that whole funding is a mess, but now we're getting off topic a little bit. But so there's that, and also some of the policies, not the policies, but like, so we have a system where Patrick at a certain time, I don't know how many days before the meeting that you send out I want that all down on paper as a policy. So then the next people that come along, they won't have to reinvent the wheel. We kind of had to, because there was this big gap in between the old road advisory committee and now.
And it's a different time and we did it very differently.
So how do we proceed?
Well, yeah, I guess it's,
So we have a,
I guess there should be a motion to,
I can't, if I'm
Right,
like,
I know.
I can't make a motion for I can make a motion for Jillian to remain as chair, can't I?
yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion for Jillian to remain as chair. Is that okay with you? Bob seconded.
There are two motions on the floor, right?
We have two nominations.
Two nominations on the floor. We should vote. on them.
Separately or together?
What was the first one?
Roy to take over for Bob.
No,
No.
mine was you to be chair and he'd be vice chair.
Yeah.
And then it rolled into Patrick would be co-chair and I'd be co-chair. I think that
Co-secretary.
co-secretary. sorry.
Yeah, not co-chair.
That was sort of one big. And I think you second that.
Okay, so
You just vote that down. I mean, we can do whatever we want, but I'm saying but I guess we have two nominations, sort of a hack and a nomination.
So how about we?
Rock, paper, scissors.
maybe,
Secretaries, then we do chairs as two different motions.
no, they should be separate, all of them. So chair, vice chair, secretary.
Let's do the secretary first.
Or, okay, Robert's rules, can I pull my motion?
We're informal. If you want to pull your motion, you can pull your motion.
Thank you.
Did you write down the motion?
No,
Okay, then, so it doesn't exist anyway.
I'm writing, but I haven't written it down. And again, we are an informal group if we have to be.
So Patrick, you are the agenda secretary. And Roy, you would
Well, let's
minute secretary.
Well,
let's get back to,
Yeah, no, I'm just, go ahead.
eventually, yes, but what do you want to do, Roy?
Yeah, I'll pull my action, my opposed motion.
And I'll pull my support.
That's no longer on the table, right? Just to clean things up.
All right.
Not that you're informal, at least try to
Okay,
think.
let's begin with
After
chair.
that motion, there was a motion by Ian.
Yeah, I
and
made,
supported by Bob.
yeah, just to elect Jillian as chair.
With you still as co-chair.
Well, he didn't.
Well,
No, I
That's
didn't,
gonna
I
be
didn't
separate.
do that.
Let's just do the
I
chair
just did
part.
chair.
Let's do one step at a time. Okay, second
Then do we have to vote?
vote.
Okay.
So do I vote?
Sure.
Okay, no, I'm trying to remember the last time we did this.
I think we.
I wasn't here.
We all voted.
So how do we vote? Is it individually or as a collective
The-
group or?
I think we can just vote as a group. It's not
Just
money.
voiceful.
Aye.
You should say all in favor. say
All in favor?
Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any dissenter?
Oppose? So but if there's a no, then we have to do a roll. Okay. All those oppose or anybody that opposes? Okay,
So I'll nominate Ian to be vice chair.
Thank you.
Second.
okay.
Thank you.
Roy nominate and Patrick, second. All in favor, voice vote, all in favor, aye?
I,
Aye. Any opposition? Don't you say it.
I would have done that just to be a smart ass.
Trying to be.
Okay, let's see, Patrick, agenda secretary. Anybody?
I'll nominate. Do you want me to nominate?
Sure.
Sure.
Thank you.
support.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All, any opposition, oppose? Okay. Patrick, congratulations. So Roy, so the minute secretary and Bob, you will be the backup? Okay,
Everybody's got a job now.
okay.
I'll make a
Somebody-
motion for Roy
Mhm.
to be minute taker. Is that the
Minute secretary.
minute secretary? Somebody
Anyone second?
With Bob being alternate.
I'll second.
Or I guess we can be the second Bob. It's an alternate.
Okay, Linda,
Linda
I'll
just
second.
seconded,
Yep.
yeah.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Nope, okay, there we go.
Would you make it official for Bob being the alternate or no?
Haven't missed one yet.
Yeah.
Would you like us to vote for you? All in favor for Bob as the alternate to the minute
I'll
secretary?
nominate him.
Got 3 seconds.
Okay, and Linda, your turn is coming. Well, okay, so now that this is set, we need to solicit to, or talk people into, joining or whatever. I know roads isn't like as fancy as parks and pathways. 3, yes.
Well, I guess I'm technically off by 2 days too. My term expires on 8.
But you know what? Actually, your term expired when TAP disappeared.
I couldn't have voted today.
But,
Back to the drawing board.
I know, no. That's what, yeah, because that's when we were all appointed to RAC we were all the same day. And then when I went back and read, it said your term expires with transportation alternative pathways, or not pathways.
I've been coming here for a whole year and a half or.
Yeah, so really, we should have reappointed you when PPP was created. And when was that?
Did the board ever change our resolution formally to make, they did, they put PPP in instead, so.
Right, but that doesn't say anything in there about liaisons. But the original motion did. We're working on a policy
It's
to
an
get all of
informal
this.
group, I don't think we're gonna throw him out on his ear.
No,
Right, we could
no,
really
but
use it
just-
all.
But he may throw himself out.
Yeah, yeah. So I may be back next month, I may not.
you have to be,
Bob's alternate, he'll be up, stepping right up to the plate full time.
he'll be coming after you. He's like, I've got to do the minutes now. He tricked me. Okay,
A different note on this. Has there been any consideration of maybe dropping the committee from 9 to 7?
I mentioned that.
Because I think there's data out there saying that, for team sizes at least, Nine's a lot. 7 is a better number than 9 from a team perspective.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, given that we've had openings for a number of months, maybe one of the solutions is to go to the board and ask that the team be knocked down to 7 instead of 9.
Well, the benefit of that is that we have a lower quorum,
Or lower to.
So there's,
but a quorum can't be 4 because that's even
No,
number, so it would have to be
yeah.
3 and 3 becomes very small.
So we just need one person, or well, it depends on what happened in my position, but yeah.
Tie votes become a problem, yes, but you know, the ZBA, we've had 4, we then give the applicant the choice of, do you want to wait till there's 5 or not?
oh,
Just so we don't have tie
They're in
votes
front of
or
you.
anything, so yeah, it's,
well, we need at least one more member.
What kind of skill set are we looking for? That might help us think about our contacts.
That's a good question. I mean,
Starts with willing to come to meetings, but.
well, yeah, and
Manipulating spreadsheets would be great.
There you go.
Another one, or it doesn't have to do as much.
another engineer.
could be somebody that likes roads,
Yeah, another engineer.
and somebody that likes roads. I don't know. I don't have any of that background. I just, you know,
It's just in the,
study.
you have to have an interest in, you know, serving and interest in roads, those 2 things, like, to me would be.
Well, or just community involvement.
Yeah, community
You
involvement,
can-
one,
You can study.
and
it, you can learn
then,
it.
and then secondly, roads.
Yeah.
After you're served on this committee, you can, you can always move up to like planning or other opportunities, so yeah.
Seems like you
It is a
that
springboard.
role,
yes.
So that's what you can sell it during the holidays.
You know, and well, also, it's not as intense as the planning commission. You know, and that's, I mean, unless Bob likes those kind of things, so we don't want to scare him off that, but yeah,
But
this
the
is some-
ZBA is even more intense than this is, so.
the ZBA is actually kind of fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I still find it stressful.
ZBA,
Enjoy it because it's intellectually challenging. But,
yeah, and that's not always in front of you, like the planning commission's at every 2
Right.
weeks.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, what other criteria? So I can bring to the board, let's start with 1. And maybe suggest going to just seven members.
Mhm.
But if they are adamant about the 9, then, but at least let's start with 1 new member. Serving, likes roads or engineering, that type of thing.
Yeah, I'd say community service, 1, and then interest in roads.
Just to be official, before we go to the board and talk about reducing. Should we make a motion? I mean, technically, this group should agree. So. Does the group agree that going to 7 is something that should be considered?
I think it's going to, shake itself out because we're gonna have a hard time finding.
I agree, but I think technically we should probably say, yes, we're all okay with that.
Yep.
Okay,
I'm okay with it.
great.
You wanna do a motion?
No,
Yeah.
we're done. We're informal. It's on recording.
Okay, but we need to have something to provide to the board.
So we need a resolution.
Yeah. Resolution,
You want to make a motion about it?
yeah, we need to have a motion
The
for a
members
res-
of the RAC.
Gonna
Resolve
write it down?
Yes.
that 7 members would be sufficient. And suggest the board lower the mandated 9 members to 7 members. With a quorum that is
It'd be 4, right? 4. So if they ask why we want to lower from 9 to 7, Bob, what was you said
effective teams.
Yeah.
effective teams, okay? Yeah. You know, there's a woman recently, she's new to our community. And she comes from Franklin Township or Franklin Village, and she was a trustee or something like that, but her husband was on the planning commission over there. And if I can track her down, maybe we can talk her husband and give him something to do. I mean, he has that planning commission background, so. I don't know his name, but her name is Judy.
Either one of them.
So let's go back to
Okay.
Linda's motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is Bob,
Resolution.
resolution.
Resolution,
We have
yeah.
to vote on it.
Bob, are you finished
Well-
writing?
I'm writing, but I'm also tweaking it a bit.
That's fine. All in favor of the general idea?
Sure.
Aye.
But yeah, so read that to us though.
Members of the RAC resolve that seven members are sufficient to meet the RAC charges from the Board of Trustees. We therefore recommend that the board lower the committee to 7 with a quorum of 4.
And did you say something about effective?
Effective January.
No, effective.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna they're gonna ask us why.
But then motion, but I think you just need,
Well,
That's-
it's gonna go in front of them. They're gonna say, well, why do you wanna go from 9 to 7? Because I did bring it up when I
okay.
presented our charge in front of them.
So rationales then, more effective team,
There's a body of literature we can turn to.
yeah. Fewer spaces to fill.
I don't know if you'll go with that.
Nobody really likes roads. They wanna be on parks and
Well,
pathways.
we've had openings for months.
Mhm. Yeah.
I just say, maybe we just say more effective teams.
Yeah.
I agree.
So-
Roads.
And I don't know how well the township has been advertising. I mean, is it in the newsletters? I don't remember.
So many people and the planning commission has to have so many members and the ZBA had to have, I think we're filtering down the food chain here a little bit.
It should be advertised though. I mean, it should be constantly advertised and then just take a list, have a list of names for the future.
End up with whoever does the website.
Well, right, but that's, I guess, goes back to the policy that they're trying to create for committees so everybody's on the same page. It seems like we're always scrambling, like at the last minute, like, oh, here we have, 3 openings on RAC and, oh, I think we should advertise. So and make it enticing, because I know there's gotta be people out there that want to serve.
Should we start bringing cookies to the meeting? That's
That
what we do.
helps.
I had
Yes and
cookies
no,
for
but
Patrick and Ian, but I forgot them. We were working on the set document.
I think there's 20 townships, that's probably only 3 or 4 that have roads committee, so. You say there's people who like to serve, I don't,
Yeah.
in Washington County, there's not that many. That do. There's starting to be more, but still not that many.
And we have have a lot of new developments coming in, they're not filled yet, but there's more, maybe there's somebody.
Right, all those people live in private stuff, so.
They still drive our roads, the public
I know.
roads, so,
They might be less interested is what I'm getting at.
well, we'll just throw a sat at them.
But they're on brand new roads, so they're good.
Right,
They won't be knocking on our door for 20 years.
well, except for trail woods, you don't talk to them about their roads. Okay, so read back.
I was just gonna say we are at 2 hours. I would
Are we?
suggest that we
Okay,
make
go
this
ahead.
new business H1 and go on. Members of the RAC resolve that 7 members are sufficient to meet the RAC charges for the committee. Therefore, recommend that the Board of Trustees lower the committee to 7 to the quorum of 4. Additionally, data supports 7 as a more effective team than a larger number.
That was your motion, sort of.
Yep,
Sounds good. to me.
okay,
I'll support.
support.
Second.
Oh,
No,
do we need to
you
do
can voice vote.
just a voice vote for resolutions?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody oppose? Good, okay. Oh, Then the draft minutes. We can move on to that. Bob, could you send those to me separately, please, or send them to Patrick? The resolution, and I'll
Yeah.
get that on for the board.
Yes.
The 12th.
Yeah, and I don't, do we have a meeting at the end of the month? I hope
Maybe
not.
They waived that one too.
Well, seems like the past couple of years, we didn't have a meeting, then they threw a special one at us.
Yeah.
Okay, so approval of the minutes. I'm good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Good, okay, then we're to, reports. Okay, Linda, did you want to provide a verbal report for DDA? You said it.
Very quickly, so we had a discussion at the DDA. The piece pursuant to Roads Advisory Committee is that the DDA is trying to put together a resolution for the Board of Trustees that they make a commitment, an annual commitment to a feeder road to the Jackson Road DDA district area of improvement annually. And the concept is working off of the Washtenaw County Road Commission road agreements, identified roads. One of those roads will be funded by the DDA up to half of the cost estimate by the road commission, provided that the other half can be found. The suggestion being that the Board of Trustees create the trustee mandated SAD as the top down sort of an SAD for those roads to help the commercial roads that are in bad shape be improved without it coming out of the township's pocket. But we don't know if the Board of Trustees is going to be interested in initiating that kind of a.
So what happens when we have the road funding for all the roads? And then
Well,
does the
if the
DDA
ARPA
still
funds-
want the SAD? No, that's for in the future, I mean.
If we do it for all of the roads, then that would certainly impact that annual commitment, but if that occurs, it won't probably occur until 2025 at this point in time for funding. There are several roads that we are trying to get improved that are sort of dead end feeder commercial roads off of the Jackson Road.
Which of the ones that on the list?
Dino is one of them, Nettie is another one right behind it. April Drive's been done in the past, Enterprise has been done in the past. Parkland Plaza was done, Jackson Plaza was done, you know, trying to work our way that direction.
Oh. Jackson Industrial? Jackson Plaza is the one where Holmes Brewery. What
Mhm.
about Jackson?
Jackson Industrial's on the list as well. That would probably be number 3.
You know, the tricky part is, you know, as a committee, I mean, the report that we presented, we're looking, trying to fund all the roads. Maybe they can go ahead and set up some SADs, but if they set up that SAD and then 2 years later, they're gonna pay a township wide millage and an SAD. And if I was a business owner along that road, I'd be like, wait a minute, so you were really thinking about doing all the roads? I just signed up to just pay you an extra whatever
If the
per
millage
year.
goes through.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as long as they know going in,
Yeah,
this could come and may not happen too. So if you wanna wait to 25. Or,
We're going to put it in the purview of what the Board of Trustees wishes to do.
so and then what you're suggesting is to have the township impose a SAD or initiate a SAD, I guess is what the correct term is. So and then the parcel owners would, if they want to squash it, would have to come back with their written objection. But everything needs to be open and transparent, no matter what, so.
We would certainly disclose that there is the intention to create more road funding, but it has not yet been agreed upon. There is no anticipated election date for it, so It may happen, it may not. There's, bus funding that also needs a millage. I saw what happened to the fire department millage.
The bus funding is a renewal more than likely. Usually renewals end up being renewed.
But I think the intention is it's a bad idea to put two on the same ballot. So it pushes roads funding forward yet another year.
Okay,
But that also speaks to us in that the ARPA funding expires, we won't necessarily have a vote on funding until. But if it were approved in 25, we wouldn't have funding until 26.
It's a long time without having much money.
It is.
well, if it was, well, we wouldn't be. If it was voted on in 25, then the winter tax bill, and then we wouldn't be able to do improvements until
26.
the spring, yeah.
It seems like, well, we're gonna develop this thing, seems like we should at least, whatever we develop, get that before the township board. If they don't wanna do anything next year, 24. I mean, that's obviously their decision. It seems like we should at least present the facts to
I
them.
think we should.
I mean, I can see, I mean, buses and roads are somewhat related. I mean, you do two separate villages. Buses need roads, driveway roads. They're all transportation, so you can, and townships have more than one village, and I guarantee you there'll be more than one village on the ballot in 2024. It's countywide villages, other kind of villages, so if you take the thing, there's only gonna be one, there's gonna be multiple villages on that ballot. So you gotta sell the millage, is it worth it, what are you gonna get for it as a resident? That's where you gotta show them value, I think, and.
I think right is to go on Lucian lands.
I've done that before. So
Okay,
I guess I wouldn't just discount, because we're already gonna have one thing on, you can't have more than one thing on. It's a political decision, but it's obviously.
That's jumping out of my report is that we're trying to at least move something forward, but you're exactly correct.
yeah, well, I know that they don't want anything to, the fire department needs funding. I mean, we had only 2 on yesterday. Their very first call was a death on Liberty, and any other emergency would have to wait. So when we're short-staffed and, it doesn't mean that they're gonna go for, I don't even know what they're not gonna go for the, the full shebang like they did before, but we are short-staffed and we still need the funding to fill the staffing in this department right now. And there's a fire on Daleview Drive and took them 22 minutes to get there.
People don't understand until they have to wait for them.
Mhm.
How exciting it is.
Okay, so anything else about reports? Nope. Public comments? Oh, I'm sorry, Linda, were you finished with your?
Yeah, I am.
Okay,
No,
I'm sorry.
There is no
I know.
public. Ian, is there anyone's hand up?
Yes. Ann Boyd,
Good evening.
hello.
Jeez.
I have a couple things. On the Board of Trustees agenda, November 28th, 12, you all will find a document that, it's seat requirements. And so Roy, your Parks and Preserves and your Roads Committee ends December 8th. And 3 of you, your commissions end September 14th, 2025, and 2 of you, your commissions end 10/12/2025. So I highly recommend that to take a look at that. I think it's a good chart that the board is finally, Jillian or Jessica is putting together that has all of the committees. And I can send that to Ian if you all want a copy of it or want to find it easily. The other thing is, where are my notes here? So Jillian, going back to the SAD policy revision, I have a lot of faith in the Finks. But it seems that running by your final draft of the SAD policy to Michigan Property Consultants, and I've forgotten his name, would be beneficial on two parts. And I know he says on his website, you know, he is not an attorney. Don't ask him for attorney questions, but it might be nice to get his 2 cents on this. And also it would give Chris Chang the benefit of the introduction of this very knowledgeable person on SADs, and get him maybe some training with this guy. Those are the 2 things that I think I wanted to mention. Yeah, thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No, I think that's Pam was the only one with a hand raised.
How many are on?
Rob Patterson, Pam Boyd, Kathleen Brandt. There were more. So we've lost a few.
And our term ends, I was remembering, are right in the RAC on the website as well. There's a chart right under democracy for roads advisory committee. So it is in.
Yeah, and when I looked at it the other day, I was wondering why the Bobs were October, and then I remember there was another resolution to bring.
Right.
Yeah, so
We don't all expire at the same time, I think was the intention.
well, and we don't have tiered terms in our resolution. So it didn't, yeah. Okay, so what time do we have?
8:41.
8:41,
Motion to adjourn.
yep, any support?
Yes.
Well,
Oh, boy. All in favor? Yes?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Well, thank you. This is productive. This is fun. See, more people should join.